Welcome to the GAME.minder Report for the week of September 12th.
Yes, it is the GAME.minder Report. This week, we're going to talk about all kinds of funky, fresh stuff. Right, Jimmy P?
Yeah, with that jive turkey smack.
Oh, yeah.
Woo!
I'm Jeremy.
I'm Jim.
And Jim just blew out his microphone.
Did I really?
No, you're okay. You're okay.
I can't.
So this is the GAME.minder Report. We're going a little bit later than usual this week because we have been glued to our live blogging tech streams.
Yes, with pictures.
With pictures to learn about the iPhone 5.
Yes. Baby Jesus will be handing the iPhone 5 out to me specifically.
Specifically?
Yes, I speak like I spell.
Indeed. And obviously, of course, this new phone will now give meaning to everyone's lives. We didn't get enough meaning from the iPhone 4S, so now we all can bow down before the altar of Apple.
Yes, there will be peace in the Middle East. And
careful, it's a touchy subject today.
It really is. Ooh. But isn't it really always a touchy subject?
Too soon?
I don't know.
Anywho, so basically, obviously, we're not an Apple podcast, but I am interested to discuss a little bit about what this might mean for just, the whole Apple gaming ecosystem. Because in addition to the iPhone 5, they did also release a new updated iPod Touch.
Correct.
And obviously the main updates for this phone and iPod is that now it's got essentially a 16:9 screen.
Correct.
So wider screen gaming for your if you do it in landscape.
So basically what you're getting at is that you'll have more room for virtual controls with your thumbs or fingers and not take away from the actual screen.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what has made touch gaming so interesting is the fact that it's been basically sort of playing with some of the control schemes that we've gotten used to in terms of portable gaming. You're directly manipulating this stuff on screen.
Right.
But I think what we've learned is that, at least in some ways, that's actually a bit of a step back in certain games. So, I mean, at least I know that for me, there are certain games where that direct manipulation makes perfect sense. Games like in Angry Birds,
right,
where you literally are pulling back, and where you pull back is exactly the point. But a game, that benefits from having a distinct on-off concept of a button,
right,
usually doesn't work as well when you're trying to directly manipulate stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be very similar. A tweet that I just saw right before we went on the air, if you will, was that the iPhone 5 will still be 512 megabytes for RAM.
Really?
Yes.
Is that confirmed?
That's what Mr. Katura just said. So if you want to take a look at that, he's usually really good about things. But
I got the specs up right here. Let me pull it up.
Okay.
Because we've got the specs on Apple's website just went up. So we got...
But while you're looking at that...
Yeah.
What that would mean, though, is that that would still make a big bottleneck. I know that one of the issues when the original iPad came out was that there's these games that couldn't push the limits because there was all these memory errors and it was failing.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think they're actually going to list that. Apple, especially since the whole iOS thing, I don't think that they've actually listed how much RAM you have to wait for someone to do a teardown. But yeah, that would be odd. Although, I mean, one of the things is that, the iPad was having issues with the Retina display, and it needs more RAM because the graphics are so much bigger. But this is now the third generation of iPhone that has had Retina pixels to push around. And yes, it is still a little bit more, but there is a beefier CPU and GPU in there now. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think anyone was saying the 4S was any sort of slouch when it came to graphics performance.
No, but... if they're going to want to, well, basically it's this. They touted in the actual thing that they're now at console graphics,
right?
So if you're trying to make something not like a console killer, but at least something that can play with the big boys, console.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You keep saying console, and it keeps screwing me up, and I have no idea what you're talking about.
The video game box.
Yeah. The pretty box with lights.
Yes. That's black or white.
Yep.
Well, that rhymed.
Are you a poet and you didn't know it?
So
they have console graphics.
Yes, but if the games aren't console-like, you can just take over.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, it's a legitimate point. I do think, however, that if anything, Apple is going to continue to cement their sort of hold on the mobile gaming space with this device. Because like you said, the fact that I don't think a lot of people are getting these devices to play Doom.
No.
You know what I mean? They're getting, and yes, things like Infinity Blade push the graphics and they're really great showpieces, and the racing games too. But, the vast majority of people I think are playing the puzzle games. And this is, if anything, just going to make it more likely that those games will have a prettier screen to play with. So I think,
Okay.
I think that's how the effect it's going to have on gaming. The one thing, obviously, that kind of bummed me out was that there was no iPad mini announced today, which you got to think is a hole right now, because with the Nexus 7 and now the new Kindle tablets that just came out, the new Fires and the Fire HDs, I mean, Apple's never been one to do what the market expects them to do, but I think more than just the market was expecting this.
I don't know much about the Nexus. Do you know off the top of your head if it's LTE?
It is not.
Okay.
The Nexus is Wi-Fi only, I believe.
No. Which the one that you can make phone calls that like looks weird?
Oh no, that's the Galaxy Note.
Okay. And is that LTE?
Probably.
Okay. I don't know. My thinking is that Apple looked at the iPad and with all the graphs that they showed, and it was like 70% of the traffic's coming from the iPad from tablets, and they were like, why?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there was a lot of really good talk about why that size would make sense for Apple to do. And again, to discuss it from a gaming perspective, my kids like my iPad. They would love a mini iPad. Their hands are still pretty small. I mean, my oldest is 6, and like holding that iPad, it's big. You know what I mean? Like if I could get games that didn't suck on the Kindle Fire, I would let her play with that, and it would fit much better. And especially when you look at the idea of like an iPod Touch is really small, and it's good, it gets the job done. Especially now with the longer screen, maybe that's going to sort of fill a little bit of that hole. But a mid-sized device that is not a phone form factor and not a big tablet, I think could be a pretty good thing for them to do.
I do too. I just don't think they want to spend the money doing that when they don't have to. And Apple spending money isn't really a big deal since they're making billions. But this kind of segues into the next topic.
Yes.
Because why spend what would be $400, $500 on an iPad mini when you can potentially spend $200 or $250 on the new Wii U for your children?
And that's you're referring, of course, to the fact that Nintendo's got a big to-do listed for tomorrow.
Yes, and it just has been updated that you can see the live stream of the event on their Facebook page.
Okay, cool. Yeah, see now, again, this gets us back to the discussion about the Wii U, which it's like, okay, is bargain basement pricing really going to be the thing that makes people interested in this thing? Because I'd be willing to bet that there's a bunch of people out there, just like you and me, who are feeling a little bit burned by the Wii. Like, oh, I got it. Everybody had to have one. I got it. I played the 3 games that everyone had to play, and now it's been sitting on a shelf.
It started off when it first came out. It was $250.
Yep.
Then when the black came out, the black version of the Wii, it was $200, and now you can get it for $150.
Okay.
Compared to when the 360 came out, not the core, just the regular, it was $400. And remember, the PS3 was $500.
Yeah, not cheap.
No. I actually think that the Wii U will come in at $200. I have not read any rumors about it. I just think that's what the price point will be for it.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't follow Nintendo as much as I used to.
Right.
I mean, I think $249 is probably a good price for them to hit.
Yeah.
And if they can, then I think that would be considered a success. If they go lower than that, kudos. Mm-hmm. But again, I mean, in so many ways, I think the Wii U. And sure, I'll be happy to eat these words if it comes out and it's the coolest gaming system that's ever been made. But like the Wii U is kind of a problem or solution in search of a problem. You know what I mean? Like we've got tablets, we've got consoles. Mm-hmm. Was anybody really dying to make a tablet that only really kind of worked if you could be near your console? Like that doesn't seem like.
Well, what was the big thing last year for Apple was the whole AirPlay, and you take your console and throw it on your TV. It was just more of a mirroring thing. Now this is actually going to be. You can play both together. Both will have simultaneously screens.
And I'm not saying that there won't be some innovative gameplay, because I'm sure there will. The question is how compelling is that going to be? I mean, and the comparison would be how many people are actually using that AirPlay mirroring. I use it basically as like a tech demo. Like, oh, check this out. I can do
Yeah.
And I do use it a ton for videos. Like if I'm watching a YouTube or something like that, and it's like, oh, I've got my kids like crowding around me on the couch. It's like, okay, stop. I'll just put it up on the TV, and I push one button and it's playing on the TV, and that's great. And yes, that does require a box plugged into your TV in the same way that the Wii U is going to. But I just don't know if that is ready to bust out of the geek set, that idea yet. And I mean, I'm sure if anyone can do it, I'm sure it's Nintendo. I just don't know if.
Well, and who put it this before? It was like everyone stated, but right before the Wii U was coming out, or the regular Wii was coming out, is well, the graphics are going to stink, and who really wants to wave a controller around goofily?
Right.
And then it would turn out to be a lot of fun, but it had its expiration. It had its course.
Yeah.
I have no doubt this is exactly what's going to happen with the Wii U. However, the difference between the Wii and the Wii U is that now with this Wii U controller, they have a higher ceiling. I still think there is a ceiling, but I think the ceiling's higher than the Wii was as far as like, okay, yes, I jiggle the thing and it swings the sword.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, there's some great things like Penny Arcade had that great comic about how a Dungeons and Dragons game where the dungeon master has the Wii U and then the other, and that would be perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah, something like that would be pretty sweet if they could do it. Excuse me. I don't know that Nintendo has really shown that they're ready to do something that cool. And the flip of that is I don't know how well received that might be, because that's still a pretty geeky concept.
Yeah. I guess it's going to be a wait and see. We'll just table this discussion and probably bring it back up next week, because we'll have more information, and hopefully they'll be able to actually show more games. When I went to, I don't know if you know this, but I went to E3.
You did.
And I played with the Wii U.
Wow.
Yeah. It was still, they were touting just the party games, and this is the party thing. And so hopefully they will show more than just a party game.
Yeah, well, and like I said, it's yet to be seen, and we will reapproach this as, I'm sure there'll be some news this week, and we'll see what's going on.
Sounds good.
All right, before we get into what's coming out this week, I did want to mention one thing that was going around Twitter this morning. I don't know if you saw it. Actually, you did see it because I showed it to you. Transformers in your neighborhood?
Yes.
We'll put the link in the show notes, but it's a really pretty inventive piece of internet marketing for Transformers Fall of Cybertron. Basically, you enter your home address, or any address that you choose, into their little thingy, and it then renders you a video of the Transformers fighting in front of your house. Which was, we did it here for the office, and then I did it at my house, and it's pretty funny.
Cool.
It's definitely worth checking out.
Something else I wanted to bring up for all the GameMinder fans out there who are using their iPhone.
Oh, yes. Big update this week.
Big update. GameMinder 2.5 is now in the App Store.
Yeah, and the big news about this is that we're finally unifying the whole GameMinder experience. So if you've been using GameMinder.com or GameMinder on Android, we're finally bringing your GameMinder.com account into iOS. So you can finally now sign in, get all your reminders synced, not just to your current device, but you can sign in on multiple devices. You can sign in on the website. And so that's really the big sort of migration that is underway right now. So if there are any sort of fits and starts, let me get you the email of our support guy.
No, basically, the one cool thing, though, is, and maybe our iPhone users did not know, is that you can do GameMinder on the web.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So a lot of iPhone users probably didn't even know about it because they didn't have to.
Right.
So yes, GameMinder.com is good to go. So if you update to 2.5, sign up for your account, and then everything will be merged together. So you can just go into GameMinder.com.
Yeah, and actually, this is actually the first step in a much larger migration that's going to be happening over the fall. Foreshadowing. Thanks, Frankie. Foreshadowing. If you want to learn a little bit more about that, we're not letting too much out of the bag just yet, but visit the all-new Handelabra.com, which we just relaunched this week, right as GoDaddy was going down, by the way.
Oh, yeah, so that's another thing, too.
Really excited about that.
If you are having a little bit of issues with any of your GameMinder, just try resetting it, restarting it. That seems to be working.
Yeah, GameMinder and Handelabra were both down on Monday. Thanks, GoDaddy. We're moving, we promise. Anywho, so yeah, basically just check basically check to reset the cache or whatever if you're having issues.
That's for Android, but basically iOS users were having issues too. So just basically either restart your phone or just kill the app. It's really that seems to have been working.
Yeah, and as what I was saying is, if you wanted to check out any of the stuff that's coming down the pike, visit handelabra.com and read the article I posted about what's coming in GameMinder. Maybe I'll mirror that at GameMinderReport.com too.
You should.
Yeah,
or link to it.
Or link to it. Maybe I'll do
Hyperlink.
that. Hyperlinks. All right, so coming out this week. Just to talk about a couple of the games, because there's actually quite a few coming out. We're finally getting out of the summer doldrums and into some of the big ones. The biggest news, of course, this week is Borderlands 2.
Correct.
Which, that is one of the top 5, I'm pretty sure, games being tracked in GameMinder right now. Well over 10,000 people waiting on that one. I did not play the first one, but I heard it was pretty amazing. We've also got Black Mesa, Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition, Kirby 20th Anniversary Special Collection, and then one that I was following from a few weeks back, the Street Fighter 25th Anniversary Collection.
Nice.
Out this week.
Yeah, just to follow up what you were just saying, Borderlands is actually the third most followed game. It goes Assassin's Creed 3 with 19,000, Halo 4 with 18.7 thousand, and then Borderlands with just about 14,000.
Right on.
And so that's pretty cool.
Excellent. So,
I'm sorry. I wanted to say is the Black Mesa game is something that's coming out. It was originally a mod for Half-Life, and what it is it's remaking the original Half-Life 1. So it's really kind of cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. All right. So, what game did you decide to follow this week?
I decided to follow, and where did it go? Sir, you are being hunted.
Are you?
Yes, sir. What you are being hunted is it's a tweed punk game. Basically, it's robots that are dressed up in Victoria age garb.
Interesting.
And you're running around old England, the old country, if you will. Mm-hmm. And it's basically just an action game, and it just looked really cool. And it's coming out for the PC and for the Mac.
Nice.
Yeah. It is being developed by the indie developer Big Robot.
Big Robot.
Yes, so having them make a robot game seemed apropos.
Seems like it makes sense.
How about yourself?
Excuse me. Well, I this week was kind of racking my brain, and one popped in that I was just like, you know what? I remember hearing about this. I think I want to try it. And since it's coming to iOS, it seems like it makes sense. And that is Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy HD. Now, as I understand it, this is a law simulator,
Correct.
of some sort.
Yes.
I know that there's that meme of Phoenix Wright like that, and I've never played any of the games because I never had a portable Nintendo system, and I think they all mostly came out for like the DS
correct.
and the NDS, I think. So I basically it's coming out sometime in the fall, and I figure I want to see what all the hype is all. Yeah, what's all this hoopla all about? So I figure I'll give it a try. So that's what I'm following in GameMinder this week.
Yeah, and just to follow up with that, another Ace Attorney game got added too. Ace Attorney 5, I believe. Yes, Ace Attorney 5 got added as well for the 3DS. So.
Ace Attorney 5, the Acening.
Yeah, so these are very popular. It's huge in Japan.
It's big in Japan.
Yes.
As always.
As always.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for the GameMinder Report this week. To view the show notes for this episode or to follow any of the games mentioned today, don't forget to visit GameMinderReport.com.
And to see the newest games listed, don't forget to follow GameMinder on Twitter or visit us on Facebook.com/GameMinder.
Facebook and Twitter. And finally, to follow all your favorite upcoming games, don't forget to visit GameMinder.com or to download the app available for iOS or Android. And so I guess that's going to do it. So signing off for the GameMinder Report, I'm Jeremy.
I'm not Jeremy. I'm Jim. Reminding you,
don't forget to play.